What's up? Today I may be reading the Apple Media Services Terms and Conditions. This should take a good long time. Okay, might as well start. Apple Media Services Terms and Conditions. These terms and conditions create a contract between you and Apple with the agreement. Please read the agreement carefully to confirm your understanding and acceptance of the agreement. Click Agree. A. Introduction to our services. This agreement governs your use of the Apple services through which you can buy, get licensed, rent, or subscribe to content, apps, and other in-app services collectively. Content may be offered through the services by Apple or a third party. Our services are available for you for your use in your country of residence. To use our services, you need to be compatible hardware, software, and internet access. Our services performance may be affected by these factors. Using our services, payments, taxes, and refunds. You can acquire content on our services for free or for a charge, either of which is referred to as a transaction. Each transaction is an electrical contract between you and Apple and or you and the entity providing the content on our services. However, if you are a customer of Apple Distribution International Ltd. and you require an app or a book, Apple Distribution International Ltd. is a merchant of record. This means you acquire content from Apple Distribution International Ltd. and is licensed by the app provider as defined below, or book publisher. When you make your first transaction, we will ask you to choose how frequently we should ask for your password for future transactions. If you enable Touch ID for transactions, we will ask you to authenticate all transactions with your fingerprint. And if you enable Face ID for transactions, we will ask you to authenticate all transactions and using facial recognition. Manage your passwords and settings at any time by following these instructions. Link. Apple will charge your selected payment method, such as your credit card, debit card, gift card, /code, or other method available in your home country for any paid transactions, including any applicable taxes. If you have also added it to your Apple Wallet, Apple may charge your selected payment method in Apple Wallet using Apple Pay. If we cannot charge your selected payment method for any reason, such as an expiration or insignificant funds, you remain responsible for any uncollected amounts. We will attempt to charge the payment method again, as you may update your payment method information. If you pre-order content, you will be charged when the content is delivered to you. In accordance with local law, Apple may update information regarding your selected payment method. Provide such information by your financial institution. For details about how transactions are billed, please visit link. All transactions are final. Content prices may change at any time. If technical problems prevent or unreasonably delay delivery of content, your exclusive and sole remedy is either replacement of the content or refund of the price paid as determined by Apple. From time to time, Apple may refuse a refund and request if we found evidence of fraud, refund abuse, or any manipulative behavior that entitles Apple to a corresponding counterclaim. Terms related to store credit and gift cards codes are available here. Link. Whoops. First page on Apple ID. Using our services and accessing content may require Apple ID. An Apple ID is the account you use across Apple's ecosystem. Your Apple ID is valuable and you're responsible for maintaining its confidentiality and security. Apple is not responsible for any losses arising from unauthorized use of your Apple ID. Please contact Apple if you're suspect that your Apple ID has been compromised. You must be age 13 or to create an Apple ID and use our services. Apple IDs of a person under this age can be created by a parent or legal guardian using family sharing or by an approved educational institution. Privacy for your use of the services subject to change to Apple's privacy policy, which is available at link Services and Content Usage Rules. Your use of services and content must follow the rules set forth in this section. Any other use of these services and content is a material breach of this agreement. Apple may monitor your use of the services and content to ensure that you are following these usage rules. Whoops. Excuse me there. All services. You may use the services and content only for personal and non-commercial purposes. Apple's delivery of content does not transfer any commercial or promotional use rights to you and does not constitute a grant or waiver of any rights of the copyright owner. You can use content from up to 5 different Apple IDs on each device. It is your responsibility not to lose, destroy, or damage content once downloaded. We encourage you to back up your content regularly. You may not tamper with or circumvent any security technology included with the services. You may access our services only using Apple's software and may not modify or use modified versions of such software. Video content requires a HDCP connection, audio and video content sales and rentals. You can use digital management, DRM, free content on a responsible number of compatible devices that you own or control. DRM content can be used up to 5 computers, any number of devices that you sync from those computers. Content rentals are viewable on a single device at a time. You must be played within 30 days and completed within 48 hours of start play. Stopping, pausing, or restarting does not extend this period. You may burn an audio playlist of purchased music to your disk for listening purposes up to 7 times. This limitation does not apply to DRM-free content. Other content may not be burned to disk. App Store content. The term app includes apps for any Apple platform and or operating system. In-app purchases, extensions such as keyboard stickers, and subscriptions made available in an app. You can use apps on any device that you own or control. Individual acting on behalf of commercial enterprise, governmental organization, or educational institution and enterprise may download and sync non-arcade apps for use by either a single individual on one or more devices owned or controlled by an enterprise, or multiple individuals on a single shared device or controlled by an enterprise. For the sake of clarity, each device used serially or collectively by multiple users requires a separate license. Apple Music. Oh gosh. Yeah. You can use an individual Apple Music membership on up to 10 devices, only 5 of which can be computers. Individual Apple Music memberships allow you to stream on a single device at a time. A family membership allows you to stream up to 6 devices at a time. Apple Arcade. Apple Arcade apps may only be downloaded or re-downloaded with a valid Apple Arcade trial or subscription. If your subscription ends, apps downloaded via Apple Arcade will no belong to you. Apple TV content. For most channels, you can stream content on up to 3 devices simultaneously. You may be limited to the amount of content you may download, and some download content may expire after the given amount of time after download or first played. Certain content may not be available for download at all. Learn more about Apple TV content usage rules at link. Redownloads. You may be able to read down previously acquired content to your devices that are signed in with the same Apple ID. You can see content types for re-download in your home country at link. Content may not be available for re-download if that content is no longer offered on our services. Associated devices rule except Apple Arcade. You can have up to 10 devices on but only a max of 5 computers signed in with your Apple ID at one time. Each computer must also be authorized using the same Apple ID. Device can be associated with different Apple ID once every 90 days. Associated device rules for Apple Arcade. You can have up to 10 devices signed in an Apple Arcade per family member at one time. Devices can be associated with a different Apple ID once every 90 days. Subscriptions to services and certain apps allow you to purchase and access to content or services on a subscription basis. Paid subscription automatically renew until canceled in the Manage Subscriptions section of your account settings. To learn more about canceling your subscriptions, visit link. We will notify you if the price of a paid subscription increases and, if required, seek your consent to continue. You will be charged no more than 24 hours prior to the start of the latest subscription period. If we cannot charge your payment method for any reason, such as an expiration or insufficient funds, and you have not canceled the paid subscription, you remain responsible for any collected amounts. And we will attempt to charge a payment as you may update your payment method information. This may result in a charge to the start of your next paid subscription period and may change the date that you are billed for each period. We reserve the right to cancel your paid subscription if you're unable to successfully charge your payment method to renew your subscription. Certain paid subscriptions may offer a free trial prior to charging your payment method. If you decide to unsubscribe from the paid subscription before we start charging your payments, cancel the subscription at least 24 hours before the free trial ends. Whoa, just a second. My watch is freaking out. Let me calm it down real quick. Not bad. Okay. Content and service availability. Terms found in this agreement that relate to services, content types, features, and functionality not available in your home country are not applicable to you until they become available to you. To see the content types available in your home country, go to services or visit link. Certain services and content available to you in your home may not be available when traveling outside your home country. On Apple devices. If you use services on non-Apple branded devices, you may not be able to access all features or content types. Terms in this agreement relating to unavailable features or content types are not applicable to you. If you later choose to access our services from an Apple branded device, if you agree that all terms of this agreement will apply to you and your use of such device. We just got to parse it. Submissions to our services. Our services may allow you to submit materials such as comments, pictures, videos, and podcasts. Your use of such features must comply with all submissions guidelines below. It may be updated from time to time. If you see materials that not comply with submissions guidelines, please use the report on a concerned feature. You hereby grant Apple a worldwide, royalty-free, perpetual, non-exclusive license to use materials you submit within services and related marketing and Apple internal purposes. Apple may monitor and decide to remove or edit any submitted material. Submissions guidelines. You may not use services to post any materials that you do not have permission to, write, or license to use. Post objectionable, offensive, unlawful, descriptive, or harmful content. Post personal, private, or confidential information belonging to others. Request personal information from a minor. Impersonate or misrepresent your relation with another person or entity. Post or transmit spam, including not limited to unsolicited or unauthorized advertising, promotional materials of informational announcements. Plan or engage any illegal, fraudulent, or manipulative activity. Family sharing. The organizer of a family must be 18 years or older, and the parent of a legal guardian of any family member under age 13 or the equivalent minimum age in their home country. Apple devices are required for access to all of the family sharing features. Purchase sharing. Family sharing purchase sharing feature allows you to share eligible content among up to 6 members of a family. The organizer invites other members to participate and agrees to pay for all transactions intended by family members. The organizer payment method is used to pay for any transaction made by family member, except when the family member's account has store credit, which is always used first. Family members are acting as agents for organizer when the organizer payment method is used. An organizer hereby agrees to pay such transaction and that transaction is made by family members or authorized organizer responsible for complying with their payment method contract and assume all risk related to sharing access to the payment method. Family members are receive an invoice for any family member transaction, essentially meeting family member and the organizer. Ask Goodbye is a convenient feature that allows organizers to approve each transaction made by a family member under the age 18. The organizer must be the parent or legal guardian of any family member for whom to ask to buy is activated. Content downloaded from family members or acquired via redemption codes are not subject to ask to buy. Family member changes. When a family member leaves or is removed from the family, the remaining family members are no longer able to access the former members' content, including content acquired with the organizer's payment methods. Family sharing rules. You can only belong to one family at a time. I need to mark that. Just remember, mark. That's funny. And you may join any family no more than twice per year. You can change the Apple ID you associate with the family no more than once every 90 days. All family members must share the same home country. Not all content, including in-app purchases and subscriptions and some previously acquired apps, are eligible for purchase sharing. Apple Arcade and Apple News Plus subscriptions are automatically enabled for purchase sharing. Subscriptions shared by a family may be subject to content usage limitations on a per subscription basis. Personalized recommendations. The services may recommend content to you based on your downloads, purchases, and other activities. You may opt out for receiving such personalized recommendations from some services in your account settings. Some recommendations features may require your permission before they are turned on. If you turn on these features, you will be asked to give Apple permissions to collect and store certain data, including not limited to data about your device activity, location, and usage. Please carefully read the information when presented when you turn on these features. Oh, sorry. Additional iTunes store terms. This is Pass and multi-pass. A pass allows you to purchase and receive television content as it becomes available. A season pass applies to television content that has a limited number of episodes per season. Multi-pass applies to television content that is no longer or is available on an ongoing basis. The full price of a season pass or multi-pass is charged at the time of transaction. Season pass or multi-pass content is available for download up to 90 days after the last episode comes about. Renewal is selected when you obtain a multi-pass. You will be charged the full price of each subsequent multi-pass cycle. You can turn off automatic renewal at least 24 hours prior to beginning the next multi-pass cycle in your account settings. If a content provider delivers the Apple fewer TV episodes than planned when you purchase a season pass, you will bill a credit to your Apple ID to retail value of the corresponding number of episodes that are not provided by Apple. To Apple. Additional apps or terms excluding Apple Arcade. Oh my gosh. License of App Store content. App license. I need to go down a little bit. App licenses are provided to you by Apple or a third-party developer. If you are a customer of Apple Distribution International Ltd, the merchant record is Apple Distribution International. And so you require the app license from Apple Distribution International Ltd, but the app is licensed by the app provider. An app licensed by Apple is an Apple app. Like that. An app licensed by an app provider is a third-party app. Apple acts as an agent for app providers in providing the App Store is not a party to sales contact or user agreement between you, the app provider, and the official client. Is governed by the license application and user agreement set forth below unless Apple or the app provider provides an overriding custom license agreement. The app provider of any third-party app is solely responsible for content warranties and claims that you have related to the third-party app. You acknowledge and agree that Apple is a third-party beneficiary of the standard EULA or custom EULA applicable to each third-party app and may not therefore such agreement. Certain apps such as stickers and iMessage apps may not appear on the device springboard, but they can be accessed and used in Messenger's app drawer. In-app purchases. Apps may offer content and services functionally for use within such apps. In-app purchases. In-app purchases that are consumed during use of an app, for example, virtual gyms, cannot be transferred among devices and can be downloaded only once. You must authenticate your account before making an app purchase. Separate from any authentication to obtain other content by entering your password or using Touch ID or Face ID to be able to make additional in-app purchases for 15 minutes without re-authentication unless you pass us to require the password for every purchase by being able to Touch ID or Face ID. You can turn off the ability to make an in-app purchase by following these instructions. Link. App maintenance and support. Apple is responsible for making maintenance and support for Apple apps only, or as required under applicable law. App providers are responsible for providing maintenance and support for their third-party apps. App bundles. Some apps can be sold together as a bundle, app bundle. The price displayed with an app bundle is the price that you'll be charged upon purchasing the app bundle. The app bundle price may be reduced to account for the apps. If you've already purchased a required but may include a minimum charge to complete the app bundle. License application and user agreement. Apps made available through the App Store are licensed, not sold to you. Your license is each app, subject to prior acceptance of either the license application and user agreement standard EULA or a custom end-user license agreement between you and the application provider. If one is provided, your license to any app the standard EULA or custom EULA is granted by Apple. And your license to any third-party app under the standard EULA or custom EULA is granted by the application provider of that third-party app. Any app that is subject to this standard EULA is referred to HEREN as a license application. The application provider or Apple, as applicable, reserves all rights. License application not expressly granted to you under the standard EULA. Scope of license. Licensors grant you to make non-transferable license to use the license of your application on any Apple brand products as permitted by the usage rules. In terms of the standard EULA will govern any content, materials, or services accessible from or purchases within the license application, as well as upgrades provided by licensor that place supplemental like the original license application, unless such upgrade is accompanied by a custom EULA. Except as provided in the usage rules, you may not distribute or make any license application available over a network where it could be used on multiple devices at the same time. You may not transfer or distribute sub-license license application, and if you sell your Apple device to a third party, you must remove the license application from the Apple device before doing so. You may not copy, reverse engineer, disassemble, attempt to derive the source of code of modify or to create derivative works of the license application, any updates or any part therefore except as to the works of the license application, any updates part therefore except it's on. Let's read that. Content to use data. You agree that the licensor may collect monitoring and use technical data and related information. Including but not limited to technical information about your device. System and application software and peripherals that is gathered periodically to facilitate the provision of software updates, product support, and other services to you, if any, related to the license application. Licensors may use this information as long as it is in any form does not personally identify you to improve its products or to provide services or technologies to you. Termination. The standard EULA is effective until terminated by you or licensor. Your rights under this standard EULA will terminate automatically if you fail to comply with any of its terms. Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. Sorry about that. External services. The license application may enable access to licensors and or third-party services and websites collectively and individually. External services. You agree to use external services at your sole risk. Licensor is not responsible for examining or elevating the content. What time is it? 4 yet. Okay. and acquire of any third-party external services, and shall not not liable for any such third-party external services. Data displayed by any license application or external service, including but not limited to financial, medical, and location information, is for general information purposes only, not guaranteed by the licensor or its agency. You will not use external services if any manner. I lost it. You agree to use these external services to harass, abuse, stalk, threaten, and defame any person or entity, and that licensor is not responsible for any such reason. External services may not be available in all languages or in your home country, and you may not be appropriate or available for the use of any particular language. To the extent you choose to use such external services, you are solely responsible for compliance with any applicable laws. Licensor reserves the right to change, suspend, remove, disable, impose, access restrictions, and limits on any external services within the time without notice or liability to you. Whoa, this is all caps. Do I have to scream it? No, I'm not. No warranty. You expressly acknowledge and agree that the use of a license application is at your sole risk. The maximum extent prohibited by applicable law, the license application, and any services proposed or provided by the license application are provided as is and as available, with all faults and without warranty of any kind. And licensors hereby disclaims all warranties and conditions with respect to the license application and services, either express and imply, including but not limited to the implied warranties and or the conditions of merchantability, of satisfactory quality, of fitness for a particular purpose, of accuracy, of quiet enjoyment, and of non-infringement of third-party rights. No oral or written information or advice given by a licensor or its authorized representative shall create a warranty should be licensed. Application or services proved effective. You assume the entire cost of all necessary servicing, repair, or correction. Some of the jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion of implied warranties or limitations on explicit rights of the consumer. So the above exclusion and limitations may not apply to you. Limitation of liability. These are not prohibited by the law. In no event shall licensor be liable for personal injury or accidental, special, indirect, consequential damages, whatever, including without limitations, damages for loss of data, business interruption, or any commercial damages or losses arising out of or related to the use of or inability to use license application, however caused regardless of the theory, liability, contractor or otherwise, advised of the possibility of such damages. Some jurisdictions do not allow limitations of liability for personal injury or incidental or consequential damages. So this limitation may not apply to you. No event shall licensors totally liability to you all of your damages, exceeding the amount of $50. Foregoing limitations will apply even if the above stated remedy fails official purpose. I'm dying. Help. Oh, I need more water. Oh, you may not use or otherwise export or re-export the license application, except as authorized by United States law or laws of jurisdiction in which the license application was obtained. A particular but without limitation, the license application may not be exported to any U.S. country or to anyone on the U.S. Treasury, and especially to the National or the U.S. Department of Commerce denied persons list or entity list. By using license application, you represent a warrant. You are not located in such country or any such list. You also agreed not using fraud for any purposes prohibited by the United States law, including limitations developed. Oh, I'm sorry. Development, design, manufacture, or production of nuclear, missile, or chemical or biological weapons. License application and related documentation of commercial items, as that term is defined by 48 CFR 2.101. Signing of commercial computer software and commercial computer software documentation. Such terms are used in 48 CFR 12.212 or 48 CFR 227.7202 as applicable constant, with 48 CFR 12.222 or CFR 227.7202-1 through 227. Oh gosh, 0.7202-4 as applicable. The commercial computer software and commercial computer software documentation are being licensed to the U.S. government and users only as commercial items and with only the respect to pertinent the terms and conditions herein. Unpublished rights reserved under copyright laws of the United States, except to the extent expressly provided in the following paragraph. This agreement of the relationship between you and Apple shall be governed by the laws of the state of California, excluding its conflicts of law provisions. You and Apple agree to submit personal exclusive jurisdictions of courts located within the county of Santa Clara, California, to resolve any dispute or claim arising from the agreement. If you are not a U.S. citizen, you do not reside in the U.S., you are not accessing the service from the U.S., and you are a citizen of one of the countries identified below, you hereby agree that any dispute or claim arising from agreement shall be governed by applicable laws set forth below, without regarding to any conflict of law provisions, and you hereby submit to non-exclusive jurisdiction of the courts located in the state, province, country identified below through law and government. If you are a citizen of any European Union country, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, the governing law of the four should be in the laws of the country and the courts of your usual place of residence. Specifically excluded from application to this agreement is that law known as the United Nations Convention on the International Sale of Goods. Additional Apple Books terms. You acquire Apple Books content from third-party providers of such content. The publisher, not Apple. Apple acts as an agent for the publisher. Books content to you. And therefore, Apple is not a party to the transaction between you and the publisher. If you are a customer of Apple Distribution International Ltd, the merchant of record is Apple Distribution International Ltd, which means that you acquire a license to use content from Apple Distribution International Ltd. But the content is licensed by the publisher. The publisher of the Apple Books content reserves the right to enforce terms of use relating to such Apple Books content. The publisher of Apple Books content is solely responsible for such content or any warranties to the extent that such warranties have been disclaimed. They have relating to such content. Additional Apple Music terms. Apple Music membership. Apple Music is a subscription music service. Apple Music membership will automatically renew. You cancel it and see the subscription section for more details on your Apple Music membership, and you'll lose access to the feature of Apple Music that requires membership, including but not limited to Apple Music songs stored on your device, iCloud Music Library. Where available, you may be offered an Apple Music membership through your wireless carrier or carrier membership. If you purchase a carrier membership, you carry your bill for the cost of your Apple Music membership. Your billing relationship with the carrier is governed by the carrier's terms and conditions, not the agreement. Billing dispute related to the carrier membership may be directed to your carrier, not Apple. By using the Apple Music, you agree that your carrier may exchange your carrier account information, telephone number, and subscription information with Apple. That Apple may use this information to determine the status of your carrier membership. iCloud Music Library. Oh my gosh. iCloud Music Library. Cloud Music Library is an Apple Music feature that allows you to access your matched or uploaded songs, playlists, and music videos acquired from Apple Music in the iTunes Store or a third-party iCloud Music Library content on your Apple Music enabled devices and iCloud Music Library. It's turned on automatically when you set up your Apple Music membership. An iCloud Music Library collects information about your iCloud Music Library content as information associated with your Apple ID and compared to iCloud Music Library. Content currently up with Apple Music, iCloud Music Library content. Uploaded by Apple iCloud Music Library servers. Limit determined by Apple. You can upload up to 100,000 songs. Songs acquired from iTunes Store or Apple Music do not count against this limit. Songs that do not meet certain criteria, for example, excessively large files or that are not authorized for your device are not eligible for iCloud Music Library. When you use iCloud Music Library, Apple logs information such as tracks you play, stop, or skip the device that you use. You agree to use Apple iCloud Music Library only for lawful acquired content. iCloud Music Library is provided on an as-is basis and contain errors and inaccuracies. You should back up your data with information prior to iCloud Music Library. If you're not an Apple Music member, you may purchase the iTunes Match subscription, which is subject to terms set forth in this section. Additional Apple Arcade terms. Apple Arcade subscription. Apple Arcade, I think, is a subscription service. Apple Arcade subscription will automatically renew until you cancel it. Account settings. See the subscription section for more details for your Apple Arcade subscription. You will lose access to any functional of Apple Arcade that requires a subscription, including but not limited to access to apps downloaded from Apple Arcade that are stored on your device. Miscellaneous terms applicable to all services. Definition of Apple. Depending on your home country, Apple means Apple Incorporated, located 1 Apple Parkway, Cupertino, California, for users in the North, Central, and South America, excluding Canada, as well as United States territories and possessions, and British possessions in North America, South America, and the Caribbean. Apple Canada Incorporated, located at 120 Bremer Boulevard, Suite 1600, Toronto, OM5J088, Canada for users in Canada or its territories and possessions. iTunes KK, located at Roppongi Hills, 610-1, Roppongi, Mintoku, Tokyo 106, 6140, Tokyo for users in Japan. Apple Pty Limited, located at level 320 Martin Place, Sydney, NSW 2000, Australia for users in Australia, New Zealand, including island possessions, territories, affiliated jurisdiction. And Apple Distribute International LLC, located at Holly Hill Industrial Estate, Holly Hill, Cork, Republic of Ireland, for all other users. Contract changes. Apple reserves the right at any time to modify this agreement and to add new terms and conditions on your use of service, as much as modifications and additional terms. Conditions will be effective immediately. Incorporated into this agreement, you continue to have. Therefore, third-party materials. Apple is not responsible or liable for third-party materials included with linked content from Apple services. Intellectual property. You agreed with the services including not limited to content, graphics, user interface, audio clips, video clips, editorial clips, and the scripts and software used to implement the services contain property information material that is owned by Apple and or its licensors and protected by applicable intellectual property or other laws, including but not limited to copyright. You agree that you will not touch proprietary information and materials in any way whatsoever except for use of the services, personal non-commercial uses, compliance with this agreement. No portion of the services may be reproduced in any form or by any means except agreement. You agree not to modify, rent, loan, sell, or speak the services in any matter. You shall exploit the services in any manner not expressly authorized. The Apple name, the Apple logo, iTunes Store, App Store, Apple Books, Apple Music, and other Apple trademarks, service marks, graphics, and logos used in connection services, trademarks. Oh my gosh, my heart was bad. Registered trademarks of Apple in the U.S. and other countries throughout the world. You are granted right and license with respect and trademarks. Copyright. If you believe that any content available to the services infringes a copyright claim by you, please contact Apple iTunes Store, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, link, App Store, link, Apple Books, link, terminations and suspensions of services. If you fail, or Apple suspects that you have failed to comply with any of the provisions of this agreement, Apple may, without notice to you, terminate this agreement and or your Apple ID. You remain liable for all amounts due under Apple ID up to and including the day of termination and or terminate your license to software and or preclude your access to services. Apple further reserves the right to modify, suspend, or discontinue the services or any part of the content, therefore, at any time or without notice to you, and Apple is not liable to third party exercise such rights. Disclaimer and warranties liability. Apple does not guarantee, represent, or that the use of the services will be uninterrupted or error-free. If you agree that from the time that Apple may remove the services in indefinite periods of time, cancel the service at any time, or otherwise limit or disable access without any notice to you. Oh, that's 322. Great. Oh, look, that's a lot of caps. Almost done. You expressly agree that the use or inability to use services at your sole risk. The services and all content delivered to you through the services that are accepted as expressly stated by Apple provided as is and as available for you. Including on-flow warranties of merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, title, and non-refrigerant. Because some jurisdictions do not allow the exclusive of impaled warranties, the above exclusion of impaled warranties may not apply to you. In no case shall Apple or its directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, or licensors be liable for any direct, indirect, incidental, positive, special, or consequential damages arising from your use of any services for any claim related but not listed in any errors or omissions in any content. Any kind incurred as a result of use of any content posted, transmitted, or otherwise made available via the services, if advised of their possibility, because some countries, states, or jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion or limitation of liability for consequential or incidental damages. In such countries, states, or jurisdictions, Apple's liability shall be limited to the extent such limitation is permitted by law. Apple should use reasonable efforts to protect information submitted by you in connection with services, but you agree to submission of such information at your sole risk. If you hereby release Apple from any of its liability, you have lost the liability relating to such information anyway. Apple does not represent or guarantee that the services will be free from loss. Corruption, attack, viruses, interface hacking, or other security intrusion, and you hereby release Apple from any liability relating thereto. Oh, you shall be responsible by backing up your own system, including any content acquired through the services. Apple is not responsible for data changes or you may incur in connection with your use of Apple services.
You're actually doing this?
What are you doing? Waiver and indemnity. By using the services, you agree to extent permitted by law to identify and hold Apple, its directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, and licensors harmless with respect to any claims arising out of your breach agreement, your use of the services, or any action taken by Apple as part of its investigation of suspected violation of the agreement, or as a result of its finding or decision that a violation of this agreement has occurred. You agree that you shall not sue or recover any damages from Apple's directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, and licensed plural on decision to remove or refuse to process information to warn you, suspend or terminate your access to the services, or take any other action during the investigation of suspected violation, or as a result of Apple's conclusion that a violation of this agreement has occurred. This waiver and indemnity provision applies to all violations described in or committed by this agreement. That close. Story inspections for public institutions. If you are a qualified public educational or government institution in any part of the agreement, such as, by the way of example, all part of it is invalid and enforceable against you because of applicable law, national, state, or federal law. Then the portion shall be deemed invalid and enforceable, as the case may be, instead construed in a manner most consistent with applicable governing law, except to the extent expressly provided in the following paragraph. This agreement and the relationship between you and Apple and all transactions of the services shall be governed by the laws of the state of California, excluding its conflicts In all law provisions, you and Apple agree to submit a personal exclusive jurisdiction of Canada within the state of St. Clair, California, to resolve any dispute or claim arising from this agreement. If you are not a U.S. citizen, you know, reside in the U.S. and accessing services from the U.S., you're itemized below. You hereby agree and dispute agreement by the applicable law set forth that you hereby non-exclusive jurisdictions, province, country below whose law governs. If you are a citizen of European Union country, Switzerland, Norway, and Iceland, the governing law and form shall be the laws of courts and usual place of residence. Specifically excluded from application to this agreement is that law known as the United Nations Convention on International Goods. Oh my gosh, I'm necklace. Other provisions, this agreement constitutes the entire agreement between you and AFLAP and governs your use of services prescinding any prior agreements with respect to the same subject matter between you and Apple. You may also, subject to additional terms and conditions that may apply to you, use affiliate Apple. You may be subject to additional terms and conditions that may apply when you use affiliate services, third-party content, third-party software, additional services. I lost my spot. Such as the volume purchase program. If any part of this agreement is held invalid or enforceable, this portion shall be construed in a manner consistent with applicable law to reflect as nearly as possible the original intentions of the parties. The remaining portions shall be remained in full force and effect. Apple's failures to enforce any right provisions in this agreement shall not constitute the waiver any such or provisional. Apple will not be able to be responsible for the failures to fulfill any obligations due to the cause beyond its control. You agree to comply with all local, state, federal, and national laws, statutes, ordinances, regulations that apply to you, use of your services. Your use of services may also be subject to other laws. Risk of loss for anything. Deliver transactions passed or acquire upon electric transmission to represent. No Apple employee or agent has the authority to vary this agreement. Apple may notify you with respect to the services by sending an email message to your email address or letter via posting mail to your mailing address or by posting on the services. Notices shall become effective immediately. Apple may also contact you by email or push notification to send you additional services. You hereby grant Apple the right to take steps Apple believes are reasonably necessary and appropriate enforcement or verify compliance with any part of the agreement. Apple has the right, without liability, to disclose any data, information, law enforcement, government officials, and or a third party, as Apple believes it's responsibly necessary or appropriate to enforce and or verify compliance with any part of the agreement, including but not limited to Apple's right to cooperate with any legal process relating to the use of your services and or content and or third-party claim that your use of the services, the content is unlawful and or infringes such third-party rights. Children under the age of majority should review this agreement with their parent and guardian to ensure that the child or parent legally understands it. Last updated May 13th, 2019. Oh, it feels so good to be done. It's 3:31. I had no long how that took. It felt like forever. I know y'all just skipped to the end of the video, but it's fun to read Apple's terms of services. Just kidding, it's not. Subscribe, like, just help me. I just did this. I regret it. And anyway, I'm tired, so I'm gonna take a nap or something. I don't know. See ya.